Hello, we are continuing adding interactivity to our web application, and in this part we'll be doing the wood materials. So let's return to Max and add some interactive objects. So let them be planks, something like this, and we want to assign the wood material, the first wood material, to it. It is already available, and add some UV map, because we see here it's not that good. So I think it will look good, just this option. So the first plank will be containing the material for wood 1, and we remember that it is convenient for the objects have unique names. So let's name it plank wood 1. Let's duplicate like this. Okay, name it wood 2 and create a new material. Which we all want also to name uniquely. So let's name it wood 2. And what we want to change is the texture, basically. So we want basically the same settings, only the texture will be different. So let's select the textures which we copied here from the starter files. Open, and this is wood, yes, this is wood 2, and some reason it's not appearing here. Let's convert it to poly. Okay, I managed to assign it to the second plank. So let's add a third plank. Okay, once again duplicate. Nope, we only want this. Okay, let's name it wood 3. Change the texture, first texture, and assign it, and remember to, yeah, it's already named, but let's make it the same, plank wood 3. So basically everything is ready. We can just maybe move the planks a bit closer, and maybe just rotate some a bit for some artistic effect, and just position them here, something like this. So basically it's not important here, but okay. So this is basically it. So let's export, yes, and now return to puzzles and see that the planks are here. Maybe some intersections, but this doesn't matter actually for now. Maybe they're too big a bit, maybe scale them down a bit. Okay, let's once again export. Yes, refresh. Yes. So in case of wood material, it is more feasible not to change the materials themselves as we did with the metals, but rather change only the texture. So, and this approach is actually is more efficient than assigning materials, because if you got many high resolution textures, we only want the first only one of these textures to be loaded upon application startup. Otherwise it will load all the textures and it will prolong loading, and it's not very efficient. It also will occupy a lot of GPU resources, memory basically. So it is more efficient to just load the first texture on the models and change load the other textures on the fly, so after the application is started up. Of course, in this example we just assigned all the textures to the planks, so that there's no difference because all the textures are already loaded. But in some other cases, for example, if we are using HTML elements for loading the textures, it will be very efficient. Let's just try this approach. So once again, let's duplicate the puzzle, but instead of instead of clicking on the sphere, we want to click on the plank. We rename it our planks in Mac so that the names are good. So let's because we already got the first material assigned, let's start with the second material here. And what we want to do is to use the replace texture puzzle. Just insert it, and it basically replaces a texture in some material. So the material which is assigned to the nightstand is called wood 1, because this is basically the same material as here, so it's wood 1. And now we can check that we got a texture which is named map number 1, but maybe it's a good idea to name the texture here also, because but here we got just one texture, so maybe just don't bother. But if you got many textures in your material, it's a good idea to name them also if you are going to change them. So basically we need to load this texture from the network directory, so it will be loading over network. We got here a local server running on top of 3ds Max, and it is basically loading files from the application folder here, Verge3D application nightstand, and it loads here the files, and we just want to specify where the file path to this texture. So in order to do this, let's just copy its name, copy, and paste it here. Remember, it's a JPEG. So basically this is it. So the point in the beginning means that we are loading from the current folder, and the forward slash means that forward slashes are used instead of backward slashes in the web. So all the web addresses are going with the forward slashes. So, but actually this is overkill here, because we just can skip this point, because the texture is resides in the same folder, so we can just use the relative paths here and without any pointed slashes. If we had our texture in some folder nested in some folder, for example, maybe create some folder, for example, textures, then these textures are, if these textures were inside this texture folder, we would add here textures forward slash, and it worked like this. But because we don't have any textures folder, so we can just use like this, or if you want to, you can use point and forward slash. So let's leave it as is. And material, yes, material is wood, so we are clicking on plank wood 2 and loading a texture from the folder called wood base color 2 here. Let's try it. So run, click, yes, it works. So we got a small problem here. The plank material also got replaced, and this is because our wood 1 material is assigned both to the nightstand model and the plank here, and we don't want our interactive object to change at all. So let's save the puzzles and fix the problem in Max. Basically, we can fix it by creating a copy for the wood 1 material. So let's name it wood original, and assign this wood original material, this is basically a copy with a different name, to the nightstand. Assign, and to the drawer, assign export, yes, and try it again. So we save it, we can safely reload the page, reload, click. Now the wood 1 is replaced because we forgot to change it to wood original. So wood original is assigned to the nightstand, and here we just wood 1, so let's change it to wood original. So we want this material to be affected by the selection. So we got another name for the texture, map number 6. Save, and because it changed this, let's just save and refresh and check again. Yes, it works. So let's just finish with the wood. So Control C, Control V, make it blank wood 1. Here we just leave as it is, so we just load another textures, Control V, blank wood 3, and the texture with number 3. So this is basically it. Let's run. Yes, 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 everything works. So this is pretty it with the interactivity with replacing materials. So the configuration part is over, and in the next part we'll try to add some animation and to play it interactively. So see you later.